In the heart of the isle untouched by time, a river weaves its way through vast, untamed lands. Here, in the delta where the waters meet the wild, life pulses in every ripple. The mighty Delta River, its muddy currents twisting and turning, carves a path through the lush, dense jungles where the creatures of the isle reign supreme. It's a world where survival is a constant struggle and where every day presents new challenges both from nature and from the predators that roam its shores. For the herbivores, life in the delta is a careful balance of grazing, drinking and hiding. The tall grasses and dense thickets provide some protection, but the scent of water is a beacon for those who hunt. As you traverse the delta, you can almost feel the pulse of the isle itself, a world that breathes, hunts and fights for every moment of life. The Delta River is a sanctuary for these creatures, and they spend their days in peace. But in the Delta, danger was always lurking, and the line between survival and death was razor thin. Herbivores in the delta are well aware of the constant threat that predators pose. Especially one group of predators in particular, the delta raptors. The delta raptors are among the most terrifying and efficient predators in the Delta River region. Striking fear into the hearts of every herbivore that roams its lush banks and waters. These cunning and agile hunters are known for their speed, stealth and precision, making them nearly impossible to evade once they set their sights on a target. With sleek, muscular bodies built for swift movements, delta raptors are formidable predators capable of sprinting at high speeds across both land and water. Often working in coordinated groups, they utilize a terrifying pack mentality that makes them all the more dangerous. Whether on land or near the river's edge, the Delta Raptors are always on the hunt, and their terrifying reputation only grows as they continue to strike fear into the hearts of every herbivore in the region. Myosaurus migrate to the delta to breed and to spend their days in peace, drinking from the cool waters and grazing on the lush vegetation. This pair of Myosaurus are mates and performing a courting dance. They are preparing to build a nest, but first must find a suitable place. The cliff provided natural shelter, its jagged rocks forming a protective backdrop against the elements, while the surrounding foliage offered additional cover from potential predators. The pair worked in unison, their strong, dexterous forelimbs pulling bundles of vegetation and earth to create a secure, well-insulated nest. Once the nest was complete, the female Myosaura, with a soft, almost rhythmic motion, began to lay her eggs. While the female nestled onto the eggs, keeping them warm, the male lumbered his way to the river's edge for a drink. But this would prove to be a dangerous mistake, for the male was now separated and danger was near. It's the Delta Raptors, and they're hungry. The Myosaurus, blissfully unaware of the looming threat, continues to drink from the river. The raptors get into position, waiting for just the right moment to strike. With their positions in place, the raptors strike. The first raptor pounced onto the Maya's side, followed quickly by another. They dig their razor-sharp talons, leaving deep gashes in the thick hide of the Mayasaurus. The Mayasora let out a startled bellow, but its cries were quickly drowned out by the thunderous pounding of raptor feet on the forest floor. It struggled, trying to escape, but the raptors were relentless, their attacks synchronized and fast. With each passing second, the Maya's strength began to wane. He kicked out with his powerful hind legs, managing to land a blow that sends a raptor skidding to the side while stomping and hitting another. But the raptors were clever, exploiting every opening he created. One raptor lunged at his flank and climbing onto his back, sinking its claws and ripping away with his teeth. With exhaustion setting in and severely wounded, things were looking bleak for this male Maya. But just as hope seemed lost, the female Maya came tearing out of the brush, rushing to her partner's aid. The raptors, seemingly caught off guard, hesitated for a moment with their focus split between attacking and retreating. With the raptors distracted, the male Maya, wounded and exhausted, limped off into the thick brush out of sight. Unfortunately for this pair of Mayas, the Delta Raptors are relentless. They are single-minded in their pursuit of victory, with no distractions capable of breaking their focus. For the Delta Raptors, the only thing that matters is achieving their goal, and they will stop at nothing to succeed. The female Maya fought fiercely to protect her mate, but she was outmatched. She lashed out with her hooves, landing a few solid blows, but the raptors were too fast and too many. Weak and exhausted, and barely able to stand, the male once again tries to hide in the thick brush. But unfortunately, outmatched and outnumbered, there was no escape for the Maya. In the aftermath, the delta returned to its eerie stillness, the raptors circling the lifeless body of the male Maiasaura, victorious in their brutal hunt. The once dominant roar of the male Maiasaurus was now a distant memory, fading into the winds that swept over the valley. The Delta River, which had witnessed countless seasons of change, flowed steadily as if untouched by the violence that had unfolded in the forest. In this wild, beautiful world of the Isle, the Delta River is both cradle and grave, a place where life and death coexist and where the primal instinct to survive runs as deep as the waters that carve this land.